All right, I guess my S Pen's broke, so I'm not going to be able to smoothly start and stop the video, and I guess we're going to have to hope that, I think this mic cord is long enough, but we're going to try a new format here called Watch Me Cook, because gotta fucking eat for one, and for two, once I do eat, as is the case I'm sure with many others, you hiccup all the time, and when you're trying to talk for 10 fucking minutes or more straight, it gets a little annoying to say the least. I'll try not to clang the plates, okay? But we're gonna make a video today, and I'm gonna talk about an experience that I had, as I'm sure you've guessed by the title, the N-word. It's gonna be extra spicy on BitChute, and you know, I had a warning. Let's make sure this thing's still going. Yeah, it is. So I had a warning not too long ago. Well, actually, it was like November of 2021 for going on about, I think I was making fun of, hopefully that's not too loud. I was making fun of some video that Jordan Peterson put out where he's talking about how the vaccine's great. Obviously it's not. I appealed the warning actually just today, but you know, I don't give a fuck if I can't say, you know, what I want, at least within reason. It's fuck YouTube. I'm on BitChute for a reason, and I guess in the future Rumble as well, but long story short, I've got this group of gentlemen that, you know, I'll do some cold calls with in the morning. As you may or may not know, being a realtor is actually a total fucking pain in the ass. And especially when you're starting off in a new market, one of the best ways to get business is with calling. And sometimes it can help to, you know, be in a Zoom chat or a Discord or whatever with people that are doing the same thing. But more often than not, I find it to be a distraction, which is why I'm not in there all that often. But today, you know, decided I would pop in, you know, if you don't know, my favorite word is nigger. I love it. I'm using that in a purely academic context. YouTube, can't wait to see my deepest fans go and report for that one. So make sure to check me out on BitChute if you see this video. And by the way, if you're watching on Facebook, I guess my account's deprioritized for like the next 17 days or something, because when the friend of the Turo host that made up a bunch of fake fucking reviews for my realtor page in Michigan, not that it even really matters, I just kind of have fun with this shit, but I shared her review from my realtor page to my personal page on Facebook, and I guess that counted as bullying, so now my posts are deprioritized for 30 days. So you can be, and this is going to tie into kind of where I'm going with this, you can be unjustly assaulted, defend yourself, and still get penalized for it, which is kind of, if you think about it, that makes sense. It's the United States. If you went to school here in our garbage government schools that essentially amount to glorified daycares, you know, it didn't matter if you were the instigator or not, any retaliation was punished just as severely as instigation, which to me, from a moral standpoint, is ridiculous. I get that, you know, from an authoritarian standpoint, that it's far more practical, and that's what it sort of comes down to, but that's neither here nor there. So I'm in this chat, and I'm being me, because as you guys know, authenticity is very, very important to me, because self-censorship is such a... And I get if you're a normie, conformie, or inferior, it's very difficult for you to understand. A lot of these things are probably beyond your intellectual scope. It's likely, in fact, that you've internalized being such a fucking coward that it's difficult to put yourself in a position where any sort of ideal actually matters to you. So with that said, it's like, okay, so I said nigger for whatever reason, and this black guy in the chat just starts freaking out. You know, it works almost as well as getting money from white people when you make them feel guilty, you know? So I just kept saying it, and this, that, and the other, and you know, we went back and forth a little bit, but the problem with low IQ people, not just obviously that's a problem in the black community, just go check out average black IQs. It's not surprising in the least. You know, go look at a city like Detroit, not a nice place to live by far. Why? Is it because it's 99% black? I don't know. It's probably white people's fault. Africa, you want to go live there? Probably not. Why? It's probably white people's fault, right? So, you know, it's hard to get a word in edgewise because they just keep hooting and hollering and talking over you. And then, of course, it gets to the point where, you know, because we're part of this group. Probably shouldn't mention which group right now, eh? But, you know, there's annual meetups and stuff, which I'll probably get fucking banned from. But he's like, oh, I'm going to see you at the next event and I'm going to stab you. And it's like, of course, because what do blacks do? They play the knockout game where you're just standing there having a conversation and they come up behind you and punch you in the head or stab you to death. I don't know. So that's great fun. But it's like, okay, so you get all butthurt because I say a single word, and you know, there's no intellectual arguments. There's no, hey, do you want to have a debate? Obviously, because you're wrong. You can't do that because you're stupid, which isn't, you know, only a feature of being African American, of course. It's always got to escalate to violence. It's like, okay, can't we do a debate as well? Oh no, you're too scared to do that. And then in a ring, it's like, okay, well, you're black. You're like, you have bigger muscles, a better cardiovascular system, bigger bones. Like, okay. Like, I'd give myself against that guy in particular maybe like a 50% chance at best. I don't know if he trains or whatever, but I mean, what am I going to go fly to fucking Connecticut to enter a ring? Why don't we just do a moderated, you know, Zoom debate over whether or not it's okay to say nigger, regardless of race, color, or creed? Because it's funny, you know, blacks, they always freak out when anybody but a black person says nigger. So it's either all okay or none of it's okay, unless you're trying to argue that there's some moral reason that a black person should be able to say nigger, but it's not okay for a white person to say nigger. So would that then not mean thereby that there's a moral difference between blacks and whites, right? Let me ask you, black people, do you really want to go down that route of saying there's a moral difference between blacks and whites? I don't think so, but it seems to be kind of built into their culture. But because of how stupid most of them are, just like most white people, or white trash, because that's the majority of them, they're too stupid to understand a lot of stuff. And I get it, like, and it's difficult for me because my IQ, I know is between, let's say, 119 and 124. So I'm not a genius by any stretch of the imagination. But it's like, okay, if homeboy here that I'm talking about is black, based on listening to his speech patterns and all that sort of stuff, I'm pretty sure his IQ's like, it'd be generous to say it's 90. So that's at least a 30 IQ point difference between me and him. All right. The difference, 30 points in the other direction from him down, is a retard, a literal retard that can't physically take care of himself. You know, so that's the difference between IQ 60 and IQ 90, just like IQ 90 and IQ 120. So, you know, the debate's out the window at this point, and it's like, I thought this is an excellent thing to make a video about, because we kind of live here in the United States in this environment where there is just a lot of the degeneracy and a lot of the bullshit that we're seeing is straight up just the result of people being too fucking scared to say anything. Okay, now I get it. If you're at somewhere where there's a bunch of blacks, always first of all remember the saying, where there's more than three, fucking seals going bad on this, but always remember the saying, you know, where there's more than three, you should not be, as evidenced by today, because it didn't take, you know, because I didn't kowtow to the upset black man. I mean, it didn't even take 5 minutes to go from, I'm just gonna stab your ass, basically. Like, what? So I use a word and you come back at me with violence. So I get it that, you know, maybe if you're in a troop, I guess is the perfect word to use in this case, maybe you would want to watch what you say, but why the fuck are you in that sort of environment? Are you some kind of wigger or something? But, I mean, if people, and this is not just an American thing, but if people throughout history as a whole, like, didn't constantly, for their own pathetic and selfish self-interest, either disengage completely or totally censor their speech, I think all of us, all colors and creed, would be in a far better place, because it's, you know, powerful people that tend to manipulate and exploit that. I mean, look at how easy it is to shut most people up. I've developed skills and abilities in my life such that, you know, I could, honestly, would it suck ass? Yeah, it would suck. But even if I got debanked somehow, which would kind of be awesome, because then I would have at least, I don't know, tens of thousands of folks following me, but a guy can dream, right? That would suck, but I will never sit there and not say what's on my mind or what I want to say, ever. And I feel like if a lot of people, or the majority of people, did that, we wouldn't live in an environment where all of a sudden, by decree, the government can just, boom, can't leave your house, business shut down, you got to get this prophylactic experimental novel treatment, or you can't leave the country, or you can't have a job. You know, every single one of you assholes out there that takes the easy, cowardly route over just saying what the fuck you want is the reason why that shit happens. So all these aspersions are cast toward me, when in reality, people should be thanking me for not being a bitch. And a lot of you guys do, and I love you, and you're fucking great. But it's like, to be so fucking triggered, like, and I get the IQ's involved, and we need to take that into account. I'm not gonna go up to somebody with Down syndrome and expect them to have reasonable emotional management skills if their IQ's 65. Maybe they can, but to immediately just, boom, somebody says nigger, and all of a sudden, I'm getting out the knife, shoot, stab, bam, bam, bam. Aren't you kind of proving my point? Because I pointed out, Detroit sucks, this sucks. Everywhere that's black is a dump. That is a fact. Okay? Anywhere that's majority black sucks. And I didn't really like get it for a while, because I grew up in like 100% white people town. Like a lot of these people that really support immigration, they don't live in Arlington, Texas, that's 30% white and 60% whatever the fuck else, when 10 years ago it was 60% white. So I'm not the only one that thinks this way and feels this way and acts this way, but I noticed that all these immigration proponents, they tend to live in very, very white areas. So coming from that, I never really got like, oh, why are people, how come nobody likes black people? Everybody's morally equal, everybody. And then I lived in Port Huron on 20th and Griswold for 10 years across the street. And you know who was the loudest? Black people. You know who made the most fucking trouble? Black people. And why is it that I am as a white person, am prevented from saying this? I'm not going to say where, but there's this fat Mexican I know, pretty nice guy overall, but it's okay for him to make jokes about how white people aren't fucking dying fast enough in his neighborhood so the Latinos can come and move in. He can make that joke. But if I, as a white person, make a comment about Dallas-Fort Worth as a whole, and how literally everything south of I-30 sucks because it's majority black and Hispanic, more so majority black than anything else, all of a sudden it's, how dare you say that? How dare I say that? With my vocal cords, shithead, that's how. It's called the truth. I live south of I-30. I would know. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it's not a problem. So I've got a couple more videos lined up, but it's a real pain in the ass to do this sort of thing. The subscriber count's great. You guys are awesome. So the next one's going to be what makes them so worthless? And then I've got a year in review comparison of Texas versus Michigan, because holy shit, what a difference. But it's like, okay, I'm not asking everybody to go show up in Harlem or fucking downtown Boston or Detroit, Michigan, and just start just shouting nigger left and right. But it's like, at the same time, at what point does the self-censorship stop? Because our grandchildren, us as in whites, our grandchildren, to the extent they even exist, are going to have to live as minorities in a country that was formerly majority white. And if you guys didn't notice, whites, literally, because Asians aren't like this, whites are the only ethnicity on the whole fucking planet who, by the way, are in an absolute minority compared to other ethnicities that are nice to out-groups. So we let in all these people to sustain the growth. That's why one of the reasons why Texas is so nice. If it weren't for all these wonderful Mexicans, who, by the way, are like the best ethnicity of them all, in my experience, overall anyway. These whites are just so fucking insufferable. But it's like, without them, there wouldn't be, I think overall America would be better, but it certainly wouldn't be an empire. And at the end of the day, our kids are going to have to live in this environment where now they're a minority and there's nothing they can do about it. Do you think Mexicans are going to throw whites a bone like we did with them coming here? No, it's going to be learn Spanish or shut the fuck up, asshole. And that's if they're being nice. Blacks will never be a majority. They abort too many of their own kids. So, what they say, nobody hates a black man more than a black man. But I'm just sick and fucking tired of having to watch my P's and Q's when it's like, I'm right, you're wrong, and let's do some kind of fucking moderated debate, because with these lowbrow folk, as soon as you, I don't know if you can hear me, but as soon as you prove them wrong, they just start hooping and hollering and talking about their niggas and how they gonna shoot your ass up. Can't even say nigga, it's like, who the fuck are you to tell me what I can and cannot say? Fuck you, Maybe you should think about living in a way and as a person where you don't expect other people to manage your emotions, right? If somebody comes up to me, regardless of their color or creed, and calls me a cracker, I don't give a shit. If somebody comes up to me and talks shit, obviously not like they're telling me to wear a mask. That was like a situational thing, which turned out great for me. But if it's just out and about or in some fucking Zoom chat, why do you give a fuck? Why are you so hair fucking triggered that all somebody's got to say is nigger, and all of a sudden you fly off the handle and your death threats and stuff like, and the irony is, you know, it's like with a lot of the stuff these days, trying not to clang my plates, you know, you defend yourself in something like that, and now all of a sudden you're the problem. It's like, what, you know, it's like, dude, what? Why don't you save the death threats for the people that are ruining this country? Yeah, so, the fuck, do I not have a pair? Oh, there they are. So, gotta have my potatoes. Although, I should probably wait and put those on top of the eggs. So, yeah, but it's like, I don't know, man. I don't care if I get debanked. I don't care if I've only got a handful of people that appreciate what I have to say and point out I really appreciate your support, but I'm never just gonna sit there and be like, oh, black person, I say nigger all the time freely, but there's a black person there? I guess I'd better not say nigger. How fucking disrespectful is that? I'm supposed to police my speech to baby and coddle you? Fuck off, you're a grown-ass man, you little bitch. What is it? So we all have to police our speech, we all have to hand them a bunch of money, we have to give them jobs, which they suck at, so that all of us suffer, including other black people who would like to use the services of those company, you know, of these companies in question, Delta Airlines. So, I don't know, but that's all I got. I guess my lunch is about ready here. So, on this topic, you know, let me know what you think. I'll definitely have a response to comments, though. Please, if your IQ is low, you know you're fucking stupid. Just shut the fuck up. Don't say anything dumb. I've protected the identities of everybody involved, but if you want to escalate in any way, shape, or form, you're gonna fucking lose. I'm gonna laugh, and everybody's gonna laugh at you. So I guess at least unless you get me banned and I can't defend myself like a proper little bitch, but just you know, shut the fuck up.